All right, we are in lesson 3.6, Speciation and Extinction. Make sure that you pause the video, write your learning goal, because by the end of this lesson, you will be able to use DNA and population changes to explain how new species are formed and other species die out. Let's get started with our first guiding question. Why do some animals survive and change while others die out? So you've heard of the dinosaurs before. They're all gone. But us as humans, we are obviously here from a common ancestor and we have changed over time. So some animals survive and change over time because they were able to adapt to their environment. They might have had traits that helped them find food better, escape predators, or just survive entirely new conditions. Over generations, those favorable traits gets passed on and the species changes. Other animals that can't adapt quickly enough, unfortunately, they die off. Maybe because the environment changed too fast for them. They couldn't find a food source, or their food source disappeared entirely, or they now have a new predator. If you cannot survive and reproduce, the species will eventually die out. So let's talk about speciation. And you're going to need to write down this full definition. Speciation is when a group of animals gets separated or changes so much over time that they become an entirely new species, which means that they can no longer reproduce with one another. So how do new species form? Let's take a look at this diagram here and use the beetles as an example. What happens in this first step? In the first step, all the beetles live in one place. They're one population. So let's think about, how does this river make a difference? Why does this river make a difference? The river splits them into two groups. So now I want you to think, what do you notice about the beetles in each group over time? Over here, we can see that one group is turning green and the other one is remaining brown. So now we're starting to have some genetic differences between them. Now we have one group, after being isolated by the river, you can be isolated by mountains, islands, or even by reproduction. Over time, they change in different ways. Again, if you cannot have babies anymore, you're going to become an entirely new species. So you'll have the original population, and again, over time, you're going to start seeing complete separation between them. Now let's talk about extinction. So extinction is when every single one of the members of a same species die and disappear. Again, it could be because the environment changes too quickly, new predators, new diseases, and sometimes us humans, we can even cause the extinction of many other animals. So let's think about, what are some things that can cause extinction? We have climate change. Pollution is one of them. Here we have new arrivals of viruses and bacteria, so pandemics. And of course, we have a full-scale asteroid that could possibly cause these things. Now, we know many animals that have faced extinction, such as the dinosaurs, the dodo bird, and we have the woolly mammoth. But today we have thousands and thousands of animals that are going extinct today because of human actions. And us as humans, we need to find solutions to help create a better world, because biodiversity is always great for us. The more different species we have on this earth and the less that goes extinct, the better we are as a ecosystem and the better our lives are as humans. So let's just summarize, what are the main differences between speciation and extinction. Speciation is about the forming of new species, where extinction is about things dying out. So This is caused by isolation, and this is a very slow process. So it happens over a very long period of time. But extinction, this can happen very quickly depending on how the environment changes. But that will be all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.